Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to get back to a sort of less editing type of project where I do a smaller project that I, don't chop a bunch of stuff out of. So today what I'm doing is I am working on a piece of outgoing Happy Mail. So I like to challenge myself sometimes by saying, okay, my package is going to be this size, so let's make something that fits into it. So I have two of these boxes that I'm sending out. So one of them will include a little notebook that I'm going to make out of this Weiler's Light box. I'm addicted to this stuff, so I drink a lot of water. I drink like 2.5 of the 32-ounce jugs a day, and I'm addicted to probably just the NutraSweet that's in this. But I'm just going to go ahead and open this box up. I'll probably cut these ends off anyway, but I like to kind of open where I can at the seams and see what we've got. So it would make sense if the seam would be here somewhere. There we go. I don't know if you can hear it. It seems very loud, but I have a can of soda that I just opened, and it just sounds really loud, like this. So I'm going to pull this apart where it's glued. This is going to be fairly simple. It doesn't need to last forever, so I'm going to try not to over-engineer it. Let's see. So this is going to be just like a great size for a little spine. And then I feel like there's the potential to have a closure that kind of closes up this way, but I'm not even going to worry about that because I think it's just going to be open. I'm going to cut off all of these little tabs or little sections that I'm not going to need. You could definitely do this with a paper trimmer. This is a super lightweight cardstock. So if you just want to do it all in one shot, pull out your paper trimmer. I'm not too worried about it being super duper straight or even. And now that I'm thinking about it, I want to grab some extra lace so that I can do just a lace binding. I'm going to throw these in the trash. Actually, I'm going to recycle them. They're going in that box for now, though. Okay, so this happens to be a napkin, a cloth napkin that I've had in my stash for quite some time. So this is going to be my cover. Since I don't want to have to put extra either paper or cloth or any extra layer on this, I'm going to use this this side as my front cover, and then the inside will be this piece. So for this, the inside, I have just some other fabric that I got at the thrift store. This seems kind of felty. I really don't know a lot about fabric types, but it feels kind of it's stiff, so it's not stretchy at all, so I think it'll work just fine. I'm going to set that aside because we're going to use that after. First thing I'm going to do is cut this down to size. And I am just simply going to eyeball this. Okay. Just going to make sure that it will fit. Doesn't have to be super straight. There, I'm just checking to make sure there's not a correct side to this napkin. There might be, but I don't see it. And with vertical lines in the fabric or even paper, when I use them for the cover of a notebook or a journal, I try to decide whether I'm going to try to make the lines straight or just purposely make them a little wonky. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to make this just a little sideways so that instead of looking like maybe I wanted it to be straight, but it's off, it'll just be at an angle. So I'm going to cut this part down. This is hemmed, folded over, and stitched, so I'm going to cut that off of both of those sides. I don't do a ton of completely fabric journals. I use fabric for the spines of my little golden book journals, and I use them to decorate the insides of different journals, but I don't often use just fabric as the cover. I'm sure something else will go on top of this eventually. Let's see. Just checking the orientation again. This looks a little brighter, so I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it this way. So here we go. I am going to glue this down. Like I said, this doesn't need to last forever. So I'm just going to first use glue stick around the whole area, and then I will put wet glue at some of the key points. Let's see, try that again. Okay, that's what I want as the front. This is just my Tombow Mono glue stick. It's my favorite glue stick. It's my favorite stick glue. I don't know. So yeah, I really wanted to start doing a few projects that I don't do a lot of editing. I do a lot of editing in some of my projects just because, you know, some of them are long. Some of them are long. I will work on a project for hours, but there's a lot of redundancy in the middle. There's a lot of, let's see, just a little crooked here. Take a look at what it looks like on the other side. So I'm just going to cross my fingers that this will all like cut and lay nicely, even though it's not right on the weave of this fabric. Now I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to put little bits of glue right along the edge. I have one of those single straight stitch learner sewing machines, but I don't often use it. I don't pull it out very often. Wait, is this the one I just did? Did I do this one? I don't know. Let's see. Also, I was wondering if any of you have started to hype videos. Did you learn about the hyping of the videos? Hyping videos means it's an extra thing. It's like giving it a like. It's definitely a interaction with the video, and it's just a little different than the thumb emoji that you press. It is points. So you click the button, you go down underneath the video, there's a between the description where it says more and where the chat or the comments are, there's a little button that says hype, and you click it and it'll say, we're going to hype this video. You get so many hypes a week. And you can only hype a video within the first, I think, 4 or 7 days. So if you haven't done it before, you should give it a try right now and see if it works. It finally showed up a couple weeks ago on mine, and of course the kind of description that I just gave was based on my phone usage. Is that too much or too little? Is that too little? I don't know. Let's see. We're gonna find out. So I'm gonna cut these kind of straight first, and then I'll miter the corners. And then I'll pull out the camera a little bit so it's easy for you guys to see. Easier. Uh-oh. Too close. If I would have thought about it, I would have put some lace in between here, but I didn't. I'm going to miter these corners. I think so the reason I wanted to do, sorry, I'm all over the place. The reason I wanted to do a video like this where I do less editing is because I know that when I first started crafting and watching craft videos for inspiration, I liked it a lot more when I saw the creator doing all of the things, even if maybe it was time consuming or redundant. I knew that I could forward the video myself. I knew that I could, yeah, I should have made these longer. I should have made them so they come in further, but that's okay. I'm gonna work it out. Just to see if there's like a stop at some point because glue has to dry, or you know, certain things get heat dried and certain things don't, all that kind of stuff. I didn't miter these corners the best, but that's okay because we're going to cover this up. I did say I was going to pull the frame out a little bit. Let me do that. Okay, now like I said, I'm gonna add some lace for a closure. You don't have to add a closure to your books. I don't always add a closure to my books. Just wanted one for this one. And, oh, I should do all 4 of these first. So I'm so addicted to this Weiler's no sugar lemonade that I buy it in like the case. The case is like 12 of these little boxes or something, but I need to have it in the stash at all times. In my stash. In my pantry. Put a little bit more right there. I probably could cut that little piece, but I just decided to put some more glue and smash it down. I'm going to check on these other corners too. So far, so good. Now, I'm going to grab the lace that I pulled out. Sorry. Here's the lace that I think I'm using today. It does have an orientation. I mean, it does, it's not even. What am I saying? See how it's scallopy on one side and flat on the other side? I'm not really worried about it. But I think it might be cool to put some kind of peeking out the top also. And then that'll just kind of bring it all together. So, cut this. Just eyeballed it. Gonna add glue. So here's the top. I want, like, in theory, the book is like this, right? And so if you wanted it to sit down on the table, then you wouldn't want the lace to be poking out underneath necessarily. It's just what is making sense in my brain right now. So I'm going to put a dab of glue here. Align this. This is glue that I got in a multi-pack off Amazon. I will have it linked below if you want to just check it out. Otherwise, you can just search with your search bar. But it's from a multi-pack, so there are, I think, 12 different types of lace, different designs. Does not like this. I think my fingers are so sticky that my fingers are also pulling it off. Maybe? Yeah, that seems good because we are going to put another piece of fabric over it. Okay. Now I have this big old piece of fabric. I don't know where the end is, but I'm about to find it. Let's see what I can do here. Excuse me. When I set my glue bottle down, I like to tap it on the table so that the glue goes down and doesn't crust up the end of the nozzle. This is a really fine tip glue, so it will get clogged super easy. Okay, and this one. Now, if you were really into getting this super straight, you could get out your T-square and your chalk marker, your chalk pencil, or your quilting, I don't know what quilting things are, your quilting squares, and really line it up, but that's not what I'm doing. So I am going to just kind of check it out first. I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna hold it in place and flip it over. So I don't want it to show here. All right, that's gonna work. I'm gonna put it up so it's in the same direction that I'm gonna glue it in. And now I am going to just take some of this lace, lay it across the middle, and use it as a tie closure. Just need it to be tacky, so I'm gonna just put some glue stick down toward the middle-ish. Just gonna find the middle of the piece that I cut by folding it in half and sticking that in the middle. Maybe sticking it in the frame. And I just want it to be in the same direction as this lace that's up at the top. Great. All right, I've got my inside seamness here. Maybe what I'll do, since I have this line, I'm going to use it to my advantage. I'm going to cut along this line so it's straight-ish. The color fades out a little bit though, so it's kind of hard to see in some spots. So we know that one is fairly straight. This one is good. Just gonna turn it over and check it out. That end is good. So now I just need to cut this end and this end. And I think I might go ahead and start gluing it down, and then I'll cut those ends. So here's my straight edge. Take the lid off of the glue stick before you try to use it. That's a pro tip. Gonna try to see over the top here. Do want it to be inside the edge, not outside of that edge. So that appears straight-ish. Okay. Also doesn't appear to be poking out on this other side. It's not super even, but that's okay. And just use my glue stick and my wet glue and get the rest of it down here. I want it fairly close to this bottom end, but not all the way because I want to be able to cut in there. Okay. Just gonna fold that over. Maybe I'll cut this before I put more glue. No, I'm just gonna do it. Can you even see? Is it too dark? Sorry about the lighting. Okay, we're partway there. So now I'm going to take my time, cut this. It's probably best if you wait until it's completely dry to cut. That way you don't just pull the glued part off and get super wonky cuts. But either way, it's fine. You can see that this edge is peeking out here. So after I cut the bottom part off, I'm going to re-glue that. And I just have my scissor leaning against the bottom of the cover, but at the slightest angle so that those cuts are in set. Oh, well, they are, here they are, inside of that cover, not peeking out. And I'll just do a little more trimming here to get this one a little more cut. Okay. Now here is this little piece. If I flip it over, you see that is coming undone. It's because I didn't miter it very well. But I'm gonna put some more glue there on both sides and on the inside, and smash it down. Then hold it for a second and take a drink. I'm gonna move my scraps. All right, now we just need to cut this side. Don't want to cut the lace closure, so just going to be mindful of that. Take my time, get it cut. As you can see, this inside edge is a little wonky, so I'll just work on that just a tiny bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. I would not be able to make it perfect, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Oh no! Oh no, the lace is fine. Everyone breathe. The lace is fine. Okay. I could probably see more of this poking out than you can from your angle, but there's that. So we are partway there. This is bunching up a little bit. I obviously didn't put a ton of glue on this side, but I'm going to be sewing my signatures through here, so I'm not too worried about it. I am going to grab some papers and get them cut down. I'm going to do 2 small signatures. Let's see what I've got here. Okay, so I'm going to use this as kind of a gauge for how, like what the max length is that I want. Definitely cut your signature pages with a cutter with your paper trimmer if you want. Also, this is not a good way to do this because it needs to be, so here we have the front cover, the back cover, and this little spine in between, and not all the pages aren't going to be in the middle, so I don't want to measure from end to end. I want to basically cut this to the edge of that fold, and that's how long the pages will be. So I probably could have done this a different way, but this is how I'm doing it now. So I just made a little score line, and I'll use the end of the paper to make it kind of even. Do you ever use the end of your scissor as a bone folder? I have been missing my Teflon bone folder. I miss it so much. I'm pretty sure it's in like a project envelope with a bunch of paper and other things, but I don't know. It's not in reach right now. So here we go. This is how long it should be. And so there's about another extra inch here that I'm going to cut down. All right, so this is about the length that I want my pages. I do have a couple of things. I have some board game money. I have a crinkly bag full of doilies. Seriously, sometimes the doilies are so thin though you can't tell that they're doubled up. There we go. All right, so one of these. Let's take a look here. This is about the right size, so as far as height. So I am just gonna fold this over in half. Fold this in half. And I do have some other stuff. I have this piece of dot matrix paper. It's also got some writing on it. Maybe I'm going to put that aside. Let's see what else we've got here. Some book pages. Use this as a template. And some bits of that cut off here. Usually I'm very methodical about lining up pages and scoring them before I fold them and all of that sort of thing, but It's crooked. So that's fun. I really would feel much more comfortable if I would have measured. But I'm going with it. One, two, three. Let's see. Let's do some blue. Purple, writing paper, and a green. Let's see how we do. I think this is about in half. Let's see. These were already folded. Well, it looks like a waste of paper, but it'll all go into the scraps. This is just what is easier at this very moment for me. Easiest. Let's see what this looks like. Yep, looks good. Okay, I'm not gonna edit this out. I gabbed some graph paper. See if I can kind of rearrange things so you're not staring at chaos. So these actually going to be a little more methodical about. I am going to cut this down to the height that I want, which is right here. So this is graph paper. I'm just going to use one of these lines here to my advantage to make it somewhat straight. So basically just use whatever paper you have in the house. As long as it isn't your kids' homework. They're probably not even doing homework on paper anymore anyway. So, I want some of this. Just to make a mark here. Give a cut on that mark. Wherever it went, there it is. I think this is still too tall. Yeah. Just edit as you go. This one, this one, this one, this one here. This one here. This one here. Okay. If it's really hot, take off your socks. And now we're going to sew these in. Move some of this stuff out of the way. I think I'll put a few more of these in here since I'm at it, and this is here. Fold it over. There's so much glue on my fingers I can't grab it. Okay, here we go. So I have 2 more in each signature. Put this one in the middle. I'll put this one behind the doily. Actually, yeah, that's good. You can see that that's sticking out some, so I might cut it down again. And I'm just going to put these two right in here underneath our $5,000 bill. Okay, just do one more sizing, technical sizing. Just jam it in there and see if it needs to be cut. So, depending on your brain and your style, sometimes it is easier to grab and go and chop and tear, and sometimes it's easier if you measure and cut everything with a paper trimmer and then use your scoring board. After having done this, I definitely would be much more comfortable if I had done it the other way, but it doesn't matter because we're still going to end up with a little book. So, first thing I'm going to do is decide. Now you can decide to put your holes through here first, through your cover, or through your signature. They are going to be visible, the signature thread on the outside. So maybe that makes a difference. But I think what I'm going to do is just make some holes in the spine. Let's see. So I'm doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Let's do here. Here. They're not going to be perfect. Here and here. And here. Let's see, here and here. So, one thing that I forgot to mention is if you have washi tape, you can lay it down so at least your holes are kind of, you know, in a line here. I'm going to grab my big giant needle, medium size one. And let's see if it works. Okay, 3-hole pamphlet stitch is pretty easy once you get the hang of it. You want 3 times the height of your book in your thread. There we go. I do have videos on the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, so I can link those below if you want to see that in detail. Now, I have my signature. I'm going to go to the back side. I want to make sure it's kind of evened up here. The papers are generally tiny bit shorter, or at least the largest paper, tiny bit shorter than the top and bottom of the cover. So I'm just going to kind of lean them in here. And let's find that first point. Appears to be right here. This takes practice. Actually, this is the first stitch, so you can kind of just do that. There we go. Now I'm going to find the next one. Where is it? I don't even see it. So I'm just going to make my own. Well, I guess it was my own before, but just making sure it's kind of even. Okay, then this one is going to go all the way up to the top. It's kind of hard to do this right in the camera. What? How's that supposed to work? Okay. Okay, that was not super difficult, but I didn't make it easy. It's hard to see where the holes are with this dark fabric. Uh-oh, what's happening? Mm-hmm. Almost tied it in a bow. Signature 1 is done. Do the same thing for the second signature. Hopefully it's easier. And then I have things to do that aren't this. Now I wonder if this will be easier if I start from the middle. Usually I start from the middle. Definitely grab some clips to hold your paper down if things are unruly. Unruly. For something like this, I'm just going to use one. Well, I ran out of power and the video cut off, but here are the two signatures. I pulled the first one out and I just had the thread go right along the spine. It was just easy. I wouldn't have done that if it were, you know, kind of a more complex or different kind of book. But then I added a couple of charms. Here's one that says Fearless. And then I put a little peace sign in here. I left the threads in case the recipient wants to add anything else in there. And then I've got my little closure. This is going with a bunch of different ephemera, so I'm not gonna really decorate it anymore. Come on. There. Yay. There we go. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one.